Yeah. Hey, good afternoon. And here we are again, Vincent Everett and Idan Velleman from Diamond Picks. And my God, it was a boring week. Nothing ever happened. There was absolutely no activity. There was no news. There was no activity in the crypto. But it's getting boring, Idan. What do you think?
Especially the weekend was really boring. I mean, yeah. I mean, there's so much happening right now. But I mean, you know, you always say that I'm very positive, and yes, I'm still very positive, and I
Yeah.
think we can show today why we are a little bit more positive.
Well,
So
yeah. So for this week, we of course have the news. We had a drama on the exchanges. I mean, everything went down. It was blood on the street, and every time when we think it cannot go any further down, of course, if you've been through this kind of stuff before, you know. But that was so we're going to share that, and we're going to basically talk about Celsius and all the other things which are happening. But also, what's nice, I was invited on Sunday in Brussels to interview CZ and to be the host of a Binance meeting where we were with 700 people, 7,000 people watching. And so we'll do that a little bit at the end of the show. We're going to talk about, what kind of person is CZ, the founder and the CEO of Binance. What kind of the things did we discuss? Like the of course the current market. What does it mean? What is the function of the bear market? How long will it end? What does he think of Luna? And all these things, and what do you think of the future governance and all these things? So that will happen at the end of the show. But we're first going to look at the beginning of the week, and all the news, because I think that is wonderful. Yep.
after that,
You're going to help us with the market. I'm not going to do that video. Okay, go ahead, Idan. How did you think the market was doing?
do you want us to share the slides, Vincent? If you share the slides first of all, then we'll go through a couple of charts.
Yeah.
The first slide, yeah, and then we'll go through strategies and the news. So the first thing I want to show is the deck. If I don't see it, I'm not sure you're sharing it. If you can share yes.
Continue. Just continue.
Perfect. So the first thing I want to show is the Bitcoin one, and those are the lines that we received last week. Also, the same line, support line that we looked at together with Joel. So I kind of thought that it's nice to continue showing that. And you see the levels that Joel was looking at was between 20 to 29. And he said if we are going lower than that we're in a danger zone and we can go as low as 11. And it's exactly what happened in the weekend. So in the weekend, there was the biggest capitulation, liquidation of a lot of companies who took leverage and needed to buy back or sell their assets. And we went down up to somewhere at around 17K. And then the fear was extreme. I think it was 5 or 6. I've never seen something like that. And a lot of people just sold sold their assets. But then the price recovered. And
So,
I think
just to go into that, one of the explanation was that a lot of people had too much leverage, had borrowed, and because of the price going down so much, they were forced to sell, and that caused another price fall, and then more people had to sell. Is that the biggest explanation, or was it just interest and Fed and economic stuff? What were the explanations?
Yeah, so I think the macroeconomics environment right now is scary. The inflation, we talked about it. We'll talk about it in a second again. But yeah, there are a lot of companies, when the price goes down, a lot of companies are taking leverage. They're forced to sell their assets. And then, that's cascaded into more the price going lower and lower and lower until it stops, until someone said, okay, the bottom is we reached the bottom, we reached support level, and now from now on we can start buying, and then the big guys, the big whales, start buying when the price came down to 17K. And you can see that it immediately reacted, and it went up to 21, 22K, and that's the range where we are right now. So we are now on 20K 500, and that's a little bit where you see the price somewhere between the 20 and the 23 for the last couple of days.
Yeah, so we're now back to December, November 2021. That's
right. We went lower than the all-time high.
We're in 2020. We're December 2020. So we're now.
But yeah, we went to the lower to the all-time, the last all-time high in the bull market, and that was scary for a lot of people because they kind of thought if that's going to happen, we're going to go even lower. It hasn't happened yet. It may happen. We don't know, of course. If we see another big company like Celsius or 3AC that needs to liquidate, yeah, that may happen again. But we fleshed out the tourist, like Checkmate from Glassnode says, and now it's time to buy back low into the market. What I want to mention, if you go to the next slide, and that's really interesting, is that you can see that the Bitcoin dominance has been low, it start going down, and that's very positive for the alt, and that's an indication that the alt has reached the bottom. And that I'm pretty much convinced. The altcoins reached the bottom last week. And you can see that from a dominance of 48, almost 49%, we are down now to 44%. Bitcoin still on the range 20 to 23, as we said, but the alts are starting to picking up. And that is also reflected in our strategies because we are very much focused on altcoins. This is another indication for DeFi Llama. Just a screenshot I took this morning. You could see that also there we probably reached the bottom last week with 72 milliard in total value locked, and now we already see that more and more people are starting to put more funds into the protocols.
What does this mean? What does this mean? This slide.
So, for example, we have the different layers, right? We have the different L1 applications like Ethereum and like Solana, and on top of that, there are different protocols, and those protocols they're offering different services. Can be DeFi services, decentralized services where you can trade, or you can exchange, you can swap, you can loan, all of that. On top of that, you need to provide liquidity, and when it's a decentralized system, so the community is providing the liquidity, and that's what you see here. The liquidity that providing here is the value that you lock into the protocol, and because of the extreme fear, and that because what we saw with Celsius, which is a CeFi DeFi protocol kind of, but also invested in a lot of DeFi in order to yield and be able to pay interest to the customers. You saw that a lot of people just ran away and took out their liquidity from those DeFi protocols, and that was the biggest effect.
What I really want to know is, why do people, all these DeFi services, why do people borrow money? Because you can get, we talked about it with Sol, that you get 20% interest a year, and I thought it was pretty crazy, but you now still can get 10% on different platforms. Why do people, what do people do with that money they borrow? They put it in liquidity pools, and do they get paid more there? I would love to have an expert on the DeFi field, and if somebody's listening and it's good, then we'd love to have you on board on our show to get a little bit more feedback. How is this stuff used? I am still, I'm a blockchain guy. I'm a crypto guy, but I'm a blockchain guy. I want to have this stuff used for useful things. Okay, if we are a bank, you can borrow money for, buying a house or things, but I don't know where these people people borrow money from. I can see that people stake and that they want to provide liquidity, but still it looks like it's only the system itself. It's not used for things in the outside world. Right. There's only two things which I see that that crypto is doing. First, you can raise a hell of a lot of money if you start your coin and the community believes it, and bang, you can get 20 million euro to fund your company, normally a crypto company, so it's only itself. And then NFTs, you can buy art, and the moment that art is sold, the original artist gets a kickback. I see some useful things, but the things with energy, with CO2, with retail, with making sure that things are real, that they are not fake products. I want to see useful things. But okay, we'll do that for the next time. Thank you very much for explaining that, Idan. Let's go to the next one.
Yeah, this is the extreme fear we talked about. I think all of it shows us how high the fear is right now. This is a screenshot I took for 2 days ago. It has changed a little bit. If you click one more enter on your computer, you will see that now the extreme fear has went up to 11. And it used to be 6 and 6 or 5 or 6 last week in the weekend. And that's like everyone is shaking. Most of the people just, they cannot handle it. And that's what we call capitulation. When you just look at it and you see the price goes down, you say, hey, I'm going to sell because the price is going to go to 0. And that's what we saw in the weekend. If you have diamond hands and you kept on keeping your funds, you could make a lot of money with some of them. And then I'll show you some example in a second, particularly some alts. So that's funny. This is exactly the time to buy in. And yeah, let's look at our strategies. And if it's okay with you, Vincent, this is a screenshot, but I would like also to share the screen. And I would like to take you through our platform because I think it's pretty cool. Yeah, so this is the overview of our different strategies, and we have some strategies that are index.
So let's just do a 1 second thing. DiamondPix is a company where you have your money in Binance, and you have your own wallet in Binance. You connect it to our platform, and we will provide platforms to buy and sell all kinds of different cryptos, and we have different strategies for different needs. You can do a Bitcoin only strategy, and we only will buy and sell Bitcoin and go to USD, or you can have a pocket of a pocket. And we have robots to protect every coin in the strategy. So, and that's the new thing, that we protect you on the way down, and we basically give you a good return on the way up. That is the unique part of DiamondPix. Okay, go ahead.
Exactly, and no, I think it's great what you said, because you can really see it here. The only one strategy, except of Bitcoin, the only one strategy that we are not protecting is an index funds. It's the top 10, and that's Berkshire. And you could see what happened in Berkshire on Sunday. It went down ballistically because the top 10 just went down, and our robot more or less protected the rest of our funds. It just went out. There was in Genoa. Genoa is one of our most active strategies. It had some position and immediately sold them to BUSD. So you could see there a little bit of price went down, but you can see that eventually Genoa is now on 3.2% in the last week, plus after pretty hectic week in the crypto. So we are very proud of that. And if you look at our master traders, so this is where our people are going in and are analyzing the coins to get in and analyzing how the robot is doing. The last week, Genoa has entered a few positions. You see those positions here. It's SXP and Superfarm and ZRX and 1inch and Mana just entered into HNT, and so far we're seeing very good returns. The robot is waiting for. There are many more coins that the robot is looking at, and once he thinks that it's the right time to get in, he's just going to get in. And so that's very cool, because it just goes in the right time and goes out in the right time. And this is based on a 4-hour trading. Yeah. So a little bit about strategy. We don't talk a lot about our strategy during the show, but I think it's a good time to show that the robots are doing really well.
Yeah. So that is, of course, that's been our challenge. When we started our company, we just had strategies, and we picked the right coins, and it went really well. We did much better than Bitcoin. But then, of course, when the sentiment went down and we went 6 months in a down market, after a couple of months, we go like, well, people demanded and requested that we protect them. And I think that's really wonderful. Maybe you can show the strategy. Can you go back to those strategies for a second?
Oh yeah, of course.
We started to come up with all kinds of robots, and I think we've made an intelligent robot machine, which basically takes at the coin, looks at the coin, looks at the market, and says we're going to get in and out of the market. Here we see the robot is actually the thing on the top, and you see when the robot thinks it's positive and it's negative. And the moment that it goes from red to green, it steps in.
Right.
And then we have a system that when it steps out, and so you can really see the sentiment of the robots. And the way we do that is, of course, is our magic trick. But we are really good in going in and out at the moment. We're really good in protecting. We know that now because all our users weren't really affected by the complete crash in the last couple of weeks since May. And we also see that now we see that on the way up we can also make money.
I want just to show you a couple of examples. You said it correctly. I mean, if you look, this is on 5th of March. Then he took a position, and then he went out of the position on 1st of April, and then then the price went down. Then again he went on 29th of May. He took a little bit of profit, and he went exactly out just before the price went down. And that's exactly what we are analyzing in every coin. And it works really well. We're very proud of the coins, and it's reflected in the sentiment. And when it's a green sentiment, then it's in the long position, and when it's a red, it's on the red position. This is an analysis that we're making on the different coins. You see it on the right hand side. I'm one of the guys who are looking into it, and I have some analysts who are helping me. And then when we are comfortable that this analysis is a great analysis, and there will be almost only winning trades, we're implementing into the master trader. And then when the time is right, the robot is stepping in and will step out when the time is wrong.
Yeah. Let me show you how that now looks for the last couple of weeks, because I thought that was pretty cool. And here we go to Diamond Picks, and everybody can do this by themselves. You can just go to Diamond Picks, make an account, username, password, and you can just say, I want to start with 50,000 euros or 5,000 euros or 1,000 euros, and a certain date, and you can see exactly what happens. But here you see my thing, and the last day you see actually this today you see Genua is doing better than Bitcoin. It's really good. Also Berkshire, which is just the index of the top 10, is doing well. Duroc is slower. Let me take that out, and then let's see for the last week. We see here that the blue one is the Berkshire. That's the top 10 coins and Bitcoin. But you see that you were making money even though you were in a very negative phase, and especially the bloodbath. We've been able to avoid that. So in the last 2 weeks, Berkshire and Satoshi went 30 and 20% down, but Genua didn't have a problem. In the last month, we can see that. It's really interesting. And so let's now let's take away Berkshire. We can and only compare one thing, that is Hereford. That is, and let's compare that to Satoshi. Here you see Berkshire. You see Hereford. Let me see Pennywell. Let's get out of there. Okay, this doesn't look the right way. Okay, here you see Lagarde. Okay, now I have them too. This is Bitcoin, and in this last 6 months. And then you saw that Bitcoin went down. But here you see that Hereford made a couple of profitable trades. And that's just a strategy which only has Bitcoin. And the only thing this strategy does is go to BUSD when it thinks the market's not okay. And here you see a nice reaction. And so Hereford went up 10%, and Bitcoin went down 57%. So this is a really good strategy. It's just one coin, only Bitcoin. But our robot decides when to get in and out, and even in a bad time, it being able to make a trade. Also, Duroc Plus is an interesting one that went down 3% instead of 52%, and that's a bunch of coins. But if we look over the last year, I thought this was amazing. So this is Duroc, which is about 15 or 20 coins. And they went up in the last year 614%, while BTC went down 38%. So you see that it really was able to cope very well. It also goes down sometimes. You see, it not only goes up, but it also goes down. But the overall return on investment was fantastic for the last year. And Bitcoin is now down in a year 40%. Okay, wonderful. It's
so our biggest learning from this crisis, and never waste a good crisis, is protection. And so we are designing the MetaBot strategy based on protection during bear markets and on healthy yield during bull market. And that's our approach, and we are mainly focus on that, the trading team.
Okay, let's continue.
Yeah. Okay, so a couple of things I want to share. We talked a little bit about the macroeconomic environment. You know, the big inflation, the high inflation last week, and yesterday Powell was talking about that. I see, and I wrote an article about that a few weeks ago, and I still stick to that. I see that we are a little bit start changing the trend. And every week we go through the commodity index, and we see now that we started to see a downward trends. This is a weekly chart, and you can see that we have probably reached the peak a few weeks ago at the beginning of May. Actually, 9th of May we reached the peak, and now we can see that the oil pricing are going down. The other commodities, you were talking about the food, that seems to also to go a little bit down.
The container prices went down from 15,000 to 10,000. I mean, it still needs to go to. But I mean, one thing we've seen that inventories at companies are at an all-time high. They bought so much stuff, and the inventories are up. So I think we'll go down in the whole supply chain will get better in the next couple of months. And everybody's expecting that.
And if you go to the next slide, then you can see also the bond. The bond market always reflects the real situation, and they also anticipate what will happen, whether the inflation will continue to climb or will start going down. And I think the bond will start accepting that the Fed actions will have an impact on the inflation, maybe faster than what a lot of other things. And then we see that it's already went down from 3%. The 10-year bond is down from 3.5% to almost 3%. So that can be pretty positive as well. And that's why I think that the sentiment is improving a little bit. Also in the crypto world, you can see the extreme fear went up a bit, and also in the other equity market. So that's interesting as well. Yeah, let's look a bit. So yesterday, you and I, we watched it together when we were together with the team after a board meeting. We watched the Powell speech. So one thing he said that is committed to inflation. On inflation, we knew that, but he also What he also said, one thing that was very interesting. He said, "I'm not sure that we want a recession," which means that he also acknowledged that he's very hawkish. He was very hawkish and very aggressive on his actions, and it may indicate that he won't be as hawkish and as aggressive in the coming months, because he is concerned that there will be recessions. And that has triggered the equity market, and I think also the crypto market in a positive way since yesterday. And we see that we are a bit in the upward trends. The other thing he said, and he was asked about the crypto, and that's the second thing, and he basically said, we need regulation. Crypto needs regulation like other financial sectors, and that's okay. And in fact, he acknowledges that the crypto is a completely valid asset class, and that they are taking
the right steps. It's only a question of all the different departments, the SEC, and I mean, he is only responsible for the banks, and the SEC is for the shares. And then some other, he had about a soup of about seven organizations in the U.S. government which were responsible, and that's just one country. It's just like all these companies in the crypto world which need to obey all these different rules and regulation. I mean, good thing about MiCA is that you will have one regulation for the whole of Europe instead of every regulation now separately. In Belgium, this is allowed. In England, that is allowed. It's just like a complete madness. So that will be good if MiCA comes. The only thing is, hopefully, it will be a solid, it will be reasonable rules. They won't be crazy. Okay.
This is all very positive. Another thing I want to talk, we talked about Binance a bit, and you will talk about it a bit. So Binance US yesterday came up with a nice marketing actions, and as of for now, they are not charging any trading fees. They went down to 0 trading fees, and what happened? Coinbase shares went down 7% immediately. They reacted. So
well, the prices of the prices at Binance are like 0.07% trading fees, and in Bitwavo in Holland it's 0.25, and I think also Coinbase is a lot higher. So yeah, and if they go to 0, Binance is a lot smaller in America than in the rest of the world. And they're number 1 in 79 countries. I learned Sunday. That was amazing. But their trading fees are low, and they are really fast. They are really fast, and they have a huge amount of coins. So yeah, this is not good news for Coinbase that they do 0 trading fees. You always wonder what then the business model is. We'll have to find out about that. I mean, I saw that CZ retweeted that too, that news that they were going to 0 trading. But you always pay somewhere. I don't know where, but we'll find out about that. Well, maybe we can do that next week. Okay. Celsius. Yes. What's the good news or bad news about Celsius? Are they going down the drain, or what is happening?
We don't know yet, but there are some positive signs from Celsius side. Celsius story, the big story of Celsius is that you can click again on the enter. The big story was that they paused withdrawals because they probably had a liquidity problem. That's the 2 official tweets that they came up with in the last 2 weeks. And what happened is that the community decided to help them. And there are a lot of traders who went short on Celsius in an attempt to kill the company completely. And then the community, which is a very strong community, came up with a new campaign of sell short squeeze, and they explain what to do it. They first of all ask all the community members to buy a lot of CEL, which is a token of Celsius on FTX, and then move it to MetaMask so people cannot short. And then start selling at limit of the order of $100, basically blocking and creating a short squeeze. And if you go to the next slide, this is pretty amazing what happened. So at some stage, Vincent, you see on the next slide, the coin that was on the 14th of June, the coin was 0.17 cent. Went down from 8 a couple of months ago to 7. So almost dead. And then they started this campaign, and it went up to 1.69. So imagine yourself that you have bought some CEL
just by the community
10 days ago. Yeah, just community. See how strong the community, and how there's a war between a few parties right now. It's amazing to follow that war. But so far, I think Alex Mashinsky managed to secure some funds. Yeah, liquidation is 13K BTC went down from 18K, so he has a more space. Unless we're going down to 13K, the company is not going to be liquidated. He has a lot of challenge now. He needs to open up, obviously, then the platform at some stage, and I think a lot of people will go and withdraw the funds because he lost the trust. So let's see what's the future, but it looks like he may have some comeback. So that's an interesting story. We'll follow it every week.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to New York on the 17th of July, and I asked Alex if I could interview him again. Yeah, because I interviewed him, and he was. I think he's a really cool guy. He made a lot of different companies. So he first started to do voice over IP, and then he did. And then he made the metro system of New York. He did Wi-Fi everywhere. Became $1 billion company, and then he did Celsius. And I interviewed him a couple of years ago, two years ago, something like that. So I really want to see how he's doing. Okay.
I remember. Yeah, let's go there. Yeah, Solana.
Solana. Yes.
That's a very funny story. So I don't know if people. So Solana has different protocols, right? This is one of the protocol on DeFi, and everyone is in panic over the liquidation, and because of what happened with Celsius, protocols start looking. Do we have enough liquidity? If someone will start taking out all the liquidity, then we are in a problem. We're going to bankrupt. We have the same problem that Celsius has. So this protocol acknowledge that they have one whale with $25 million in liquidity, and they were afraid that if this whale is going to take out the funds, they are gone, they are finished. So what they did, the community voted that they will pause, they will not allow this whale to take out the money, and that. Of course, you cannot do that in a decentralized platform. This is the last thing you want to do. Maybe you want to click again.
That was a very decentralized thing. I mean, they just voted for it and saying, sorry.
Yeah, and if you click again, and so what happened is the rumor saying that what happened is if you click one more enter, so probably what happened is that they tried to call him, but he was on holiday, and he just turned on the phone because he was on holiday. And they keep on trying to send him messages and saying, hey, we want to make sure that you move some of your funds to another protocol and we'll help you, and la la la. It just didn't answer the phone, and then they vote. They vote for that. Right? At some stage, they got to of him, and he just said, "Yeah, well, it's not a problem. I don't have the intention to move the funds anywhere, but if you want, then it's fine. I will just move it to another platform." And then, of course, they canceled all this saga. So that was kind of funny, but also show you how those platforms right now are in panicking. And very undecentralized right now.
I mean that you see that the moment that the shit hit the fan, then you see what's really decentralized and what's not. And Bitcoin, you really have a good feeling that, I mean, no matter what happens, nobody can say, hey, I'm going to solve this problem and take over. You cannot do that with Bitcoin. In Ethereum, there are much more big individuals who have who have enough power to get everybody in the same direction. But with Solana, it was just like everything was click, click, click. It was very clear who was in charge. Okay, so, last subject.
Maybe I can interview you, Vincent, because
would be good.
I mean, you sent me a message a few days. You were in Oslo, and you were in a conference, and you were driving back. Said, "Hey, I've been invited to be the chairman the chairman of the Super Meetup meeting in Brussels, and I'm going to interview some very interesting people and CZ as well." And I was like, "Wow!" And what did you think when they contacted you? I just wondered, how did you?
Yeah, well, I mean. I've been a fan of CZ for quite a while, and I'm actually a fan of Binance because I think Binance is an amazing company who has a very deep product. They have so much. I mean, you can in Earn they have a lot of things. In Spot they have a lot of things. They have a wallet with 50 million. You cannot imagine you can do any kind of functions on Binance. And I thought they had like 50 million people. And so, I mean, when they called saying, "Can you be the chairman of this meeting of us?" I go, "Wow, yes, of course, I want to do that."
Yeah.
And it was a great opportunity to meet a lot of people. The good thing is, Idan, I just received the complete interview with everything.
Okay.
I just received it through WeTransfer, so I can basically, if you have some questions about it. But let me, I can share you. Let's see if I can. It's a movie which I got, so let's see if I can.
What was your impression from?
Let me see. Can I?
He's of course the richest guy in the crypto world, and maybe one of the richest in the world, and he doesn't care about money. But what was your impression? Is because you had some talk with him and you had some conversation prior to the interview, but also during the interview, how would you describe him as a?
Well, it was interesting. There was, of course, a lot of topics where you say don't talk about a lot of things around it. We talk about Binance as the goal, but then I asked CZ, "Hey, are there any questions which are off limit?" And he says, "Nah, absolutely not. Just like fine, just ask me anything. I might not give an answer to everything, but I don't care." And let's.
You did a great job, Vincent. I mean, you always do a great job with the fire chat.
Well,
And,
I had to write. I basically got the possibility to do that. Let's listen to him for a second.
You gotta have the fastest access for some of your really high demanding clients while be able to manage risk. So this developed to a point where you can use a network card that has an FPGA chip, which is a chip that you can program. There's no crypto exchanges in China.
How does that work? You get a phone call or just get disconnected? I mean,
oh yeah, this is interesting.
I mean, how did the Chinese government communicate with you?
They just publish a memo. So it's like, we're not even sure if it's legally binding or anything. It's just a memo published by like 7 departments in China, and says.
So this was like when he basically got a message from China, you have to leave. And I asked, how does that work? Do you get somebody call you? Do they come to the company? No, they just have a memo, and it's on 7 websites, and then okay, it's time to pack our bags and to go. Well, but first I wanted to figure out how was he able in 5 years to become so big. So I started with asking him, how did his life start? And I said, hey, I saw that he had been a gas station operator. It turns out he was for McDonald's before that. Then he became a software programmer, and he worked for the Japanese stock exchange. And I thought that was really interesting. So he was in the center of the heart of the software of the stock exchange, and he looked how primitive everything became. Then he worked. Then he was really bitten by the Bitcoin bug. In 2013, he read the paper, and he stopped his own company. He had a stock market software company, which he started, and he built that, and there were a bunch of people there. And he said, okay, and then he went to blockchain.com, and blockchain.com was one of the biggest wallets for a long time. They're still a reasonable play, and he worked there. He worked for other companies, and then he started his own software company to make exchanges for other people. So a white label stock exchange, and he started that in about 2015, and till 2017, he created a complete stock exchange, and 30 other people made stock exchanges for it, especially in China. But then in 2017, he realized, hey, I better start a stock exchange and trading exchange myself. So, and I go like, how can you then so quickly come up with it in 2017? But he had the whole software already ready. It was already used for a couple of years. And he said, I had such a good technical team. The great thing about Binance, I didn't have to program myself. I just had to find a good team to go international, find people in different countries, move the whole company out of China. But I didn't have to do programming. The whole team did all the work. Yeah. And that's what he now does. He travels around the world. He has a house in Dubai. And then he has a little apartment, I think, in Paris, because Paris and Italy are the first countries which have give Binance a license in Europe. They have 5 licenses now internationally, and they talk to 40 other ones. And so then I understand why he could grow so quick, because I find the exchange so fast and the prices are so low. And I mean, on a good day, they do more than 100 billion in trading. And they didn't have 50 million people, they had 112 million people. So they grew tremendously. I mean, to give you an idea, we have Bitfavo, which is a very respectable company here in the Netherlands. They're the biggest. They have 1 million people. And then you have Bitpanda, which is a good size European version, which is 10 million people. And they have 110 million. So it's factors, times 10, and one company, 110 million accounts. And you know that if you make a Binance account, you have to do a solid KYC. They are really after you. You cannot make 2 accounts. It's impossible to make 2 accounts. You can have a business account and a normal account. And so I now understood a little bit about this guy. He doesn't have to do the technical stuff himself. He's working with regulators. He's building the team. He's giving a lot of speeches. He's very active. He tries to protect the brand of his company, like you saw when was it Reuters who attacked Reuters? I think Reuters attacked him for that. A lot of whitewashing happened in Binance, and he started to explain how much whitewashing happened with normal banks. like
Yeah.
7%, and it was 0.15% with crypto, and he was really active, and he told the journalists, they didn't accept it. He then published a whole email campaign. He's not afraid. He's not afraid.
I think he comes over as a very modest and very smart and very rational guy, and I think that's what makes him very popular. He's not arrogant at all, you know, like the Luna guy is very smart. He always talk just normal things, and he just explain it in a very simple way that everyone can explain. And he's always very approachable, and I think that makes him a very unique person, a very important person for the growth of this industry.
Yeah, I think also what I thought he was not arrogant at all. He was extremely pleasant, and what I also thought was nice that he, he invested 3 million in solar in Seoul,
Luna, in
Luna,
Yeah.
3 million. And then at a certain point, it was like I was asking, okay, what did you think of it? Well, it was worth 3 million, the investment, and then it went to 1.6 billion, and now it's zero. And he goes, yeah, well, you know, that's. I mean, he was not pained about it at all. He just said, it's just money. I don't care for it. He's worth 65 billion euro. He doesn't have many houses. He doesn't have a yacht. He doesn't even have a car. He doesn't care for material things. I mean, and also he said that he's going to. He signed the pledge to commit 99% of all his fortune to charity. You know what Buffett and Bill Gates have done. They started the pledge of billionaires who did that. So we talked about governance, how important that is, how the importance of governance for an industry. We talked about the function of the bear market, which he thought also was really important to clean up things and to start innovating again. So I thought that was really interesting. It's really interesting for people to watch the interview. It helps you to understand who he is. It helps you to understand who Binance is and how they could go to the market so fast, and also about the future of the company. So I thought it was, I mean, and it was very. At a certain point, people started to wave stop, stop, stop. And I was looking actually for the sign, but they were in the corner and it was very dark. And it was very dark and I couldn't see the signaling. So at a certain point, hey guys, I have 75 more questions. There were a lot of questions from the audience, about 150. And I said, hey, I'd love to go on. But they said, no, please stop. But and I said, hey, to the audience, do you guys want to stop? Nobody wanted to stop. CZ didn't want to stop. It was a really nice conversation. It was really relaxing. It was really a fire chat.
Good. So Vincent, where could you view this fire chat? Because it's very interesting. Where can we send them on the notes? Can we send them a link where people can look into?
Yeah, let me give you the link in the. I will do the link in the. I will send the link in the, how do you say that?
In the notes,
the notes, and then you can look at it. That is the version actually with that's the version which the last 10 minutes are not there yet. Okay. So that is too bad. But I have they have found a new version. Okay. So that is good that they hopefully that will be published. It will be published one time in the next couple of weeks, and we will put it on our. We'll put it in the notes. So I've now shared the whole program. It's about a 2-hour program. It's now shared in the comments. Okay.
Okay.
Well, that was it. What do you expect for next week? Are we going to have another bloodbath, or do we see it bottoming out? I mean, actually, I think the macroeconomics is how bad it is stabilizing slowly. I think the supply chain will get better. I think we will see that the inflation will become less. But of course, everything also depends on in Europe on the Ukraine, because our inflation is very much related to the Ukraine. In America, that's not the case. There they have just the supply chain. The supply chain in Europe is not as bad as in America. But I think when Russia and Ukraine doesn't explode, I think slowly people will get used to it, get better, and I think they'll slowly start investing back into assets again.
Yeah.
So I think we will have turned the corner. That is my prediction. That's not financial advice, but that's my prediction. What do you think, Idam?
I tend to agree with you, Vincent. I want us we need to monitor what's happening with the corona because it's a little bit back here in Europe. We need to look at the war. We need to look at the supply chain in China and what's happening in corona there, and how the inflation is developing here in Europe and in the US. But I tend to agree that the worst is behind us. I think the bond market in the US reflects that. It's usually the one who telling you the real truth and anticipating what's going to happen. Another question is whether the Fed will raise the next interest rate in 0.5 or 0.75. That will be another catalyst to go up or to go down. But yeah, we stabilize that. I don't expect. I still expect very volatile market. Crypto hasn't been different. Hasn't been acting differently in the last 5 years. So it's nothing to worry about. But I think we've reached the bottom, at least with altcoins.
Okay.
That's my opinion. Yeah.
All righty. We'll see each other next week. Thank you very much, Idam.
You're welcome, Vincent.
Okay.
Take
and
care.
see you
Bye-bye.
next week. Bye.